Hello everyone, this is Anita again, and I wanted to hopefully make a quick video to discuss a question that was raised by a friend of mine last week, but was a very important question and really was something that was very helpful to me. And the question she asked me was, what does it mean to you, me, that you're a female? Is it just wearing women's clothing or what? I mean, what is it? And my answer to her at the time was sort of kind of a mash of the things I had been thinking and sort of dealt with sort of the discernment process, the reasons why I thought I was a woman, the reasons why I came to that decision. But it really wasn't, I didn't think it was a very good answer. And unfortunately, we didn't really have the time to spend a lot of effort sort of going through that. And then I brought up the question the next day with my therapist. I just happened to have a therapy session scheduled. And we spent the majority of the session talking about the answer to that question. And the answer to the question comes down really very simply to, and this is grammatically correct and very precise, because I is. And simply put, if I consider myself female, there is an I that exists, and I feel peaceful with myself. I feel peaceful with that I. If I consider myself male, there's always this interior struggle. There's no real sense of the I. The I becomes sort of a construct. I would call it the male shell or the male persona that is always feeling under attack because it may give off the fact that it's a fake, and it always has this sense of, I'm going to be discovered. People are going to find out that I'm not real. And so, to me, in the therapy session, it became a sense that gender is something that's given to us. And the more I thought about it after the therapy session, I started thinking, I consider myself a very analytical person, which makes this question somewhat hard for me because I have the tendency to try to figure out what the actual causal relation or how it fits into some larger overall. But it's not something you can analyze your way to. It's something that's there in the very real sense of sort of recognizing that I'm analytical and I don't feel any need to give myself questions about why I consider myself an analytical person. I consider myself female. It's just given to me. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about what that means, because I started then thinking, well, what does it really mean to say I think of myself as a female? What does that mean? And the way I look at it, and it seems to be somewhat in line with kind of sort of gender theory as I understand it, and I don't understand it very well. And so somebody who understands it very well may come and argue with me, and I would love to have that because it would educate me. But the way I look at it is that society gives us a certain set of roles, social roles, behavioral models, emotional models, psychological models that are female or male. And one of the questions I had early on was, well, if I were in a different culture, would I still be transgender? And the answer to that question is yes, because I feel that I should be using the female models, the female expectations to evaluate myself. That doesn't mean that I live up to all of those, but I would see myself as a masculine woman in the sense of women are more emotional and less analytical, or less rational, if you will. And I see myself as less emotional and more rational. And so therefore, I don't fit that model as well, but I would still consider myself as a deviation from that model, in the same way that all women are deviations in some ways from various parts of the model. Not every woman meets the model in exactly the same way. People are, people who are tomboys, for example, or women who are tomboys, for example, are still women. They still consider themselves female, but they like to do things that the boys do, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it shows that, to me at least, that when I tried to apply male expectations, male role models, male models to who I was, there was always a sense of making up a solution, making up an answer, that it wasn't really who I was. It was creating something that kind of approximated that. And I wanted to sort of draw that out, in part because it's difficult for me, being very analytical, to sort of just sit back and accept that, yes, I'm female, as opposed to trying to derive some proof and give a reason why I'm female. And that the meaning, really, to me, for being a female is those are the role models that I think are appropriate to me, or not so much that I think are appropriate. Those are the roles and the models and the expectations that are appropriate to me, versus the male expectations, which are not. And it also helps me then understand non-binary, because non-binary would be, theoretically, I suppose, under this way of looking at things, people would see some of the female roles and expectations being applicable and some of the male roles and expectations being applicable. People who are gender fluid might see some days one is applicable and another day another one is applicable. There's no real sense that necessarily it has to be fixed. It's always this way, it's always that way. For me, it seems to always be female. So the reason why this was an important question for me is by really finally taking the time to work through this, I finally have started to accept fully that I am a woman in a way that is very profound. I quit questioning it, and part of that also is it gives me another tool to fight against the internal transphobia, because the internal transphobia was throwing the question at me in a far more brutal form, which is, how on heaven's green earth can you call yourself a woman when you're obviously so male? And this allows me now to answer that in a way that allows me to feel completely calm and helps take away the power for the internalized transphobia. So I want to stop there. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you appreciate this. I want to do another, hopefully fairly short video to sort of catch you up on where I am with my transition, but I will do that as a follow-up to this one. Thank you very much for watching. Again, hopefully somewhere, I think over here is where it ends up. There will be the picture of me, and if you click on that, you can subscribe, and there's a little bell. If you click on the bell, you can get notifications of when I post again. I will try to be a little bit more frequent, a little bit more regular with them, but no guarantees. It depends on what else is going on. But thank you again very much for watching, and I hope this has been useful.